Okay, everybody. Tyler here with BroncBuster. We are starting live, and we got Ted here. I'm going to bring Ted on into the stream. Hey, Ted, how you doing today, buddy?
Now, you're going to tell me you can see and hear me in the Man Cave Cuckoo's Nest arsenal of democracy. Is that what you expect me to believe?
Yeah, sure. Why not, right?
If I didn't have my son Rocco Winchester, the tech czar, I wouldn't be able to do this. Now, I'd like to make this screen bigger, but I'm not going to touch nothing. So how are you, Tyler?
Doing great. I was a little nervous there. We're having technical difficulties. But you know what? We're all on, and we're excited to have Ted tonight and talk about Wheeling for Cause. Now, of course, Ted don't need any introduction, but I would like to... You know what? I'm going to turn this. I got a little bit of reverberation back here. I'm sorry, guys.
You know, Tyler, I love you so much, and I so value your wisdom. Can you hear me?
Place in rock and roll history, selling more than 40 million albums, performing more than 1,750 high-octane concerts, and continuing to set attendance records at venues around the globe. In addition to music, being an outspoken political activist, writer, outdoor enthusiast, and hunting spokesman, Ted is a longtime Bronco owner. As we prepared for the show, Ted sent us some great shots of his Broncos, and that's what I showed to you guys here at the intro. One thing on top of all of that, Ted proudly serves as an ambassador for Exodus Place. He advances the goal of zero veteran homelessness in Michigan and works with Operation Final Home to provide quality mortgage-free housing for our wounded and disabled vets. So as you know, we're preparing for Wheeling for a Cause, and this, among a couple of charities that we're going to introduce tonight, is an event that we are raising funds for Gunnery Sergeant Guillermo Tejada. And this individual, as you guys have seen on the video that we put out there, is incredible, and we really appreciate Ted. So Ted, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for our great country.
Well, thank you for that, Tyler. Number one, I'm in low lock, four-wheel drive, positive traction, front and rear, full time. I got 488 gears on my guitar, so we're traction heavy. I'm like addicted to traction. No, I'm 74 years clean and sober, living the American dream. A lot of people think I invented the middle finger, but I just perfected it a long time ago. Bottom line is I'm honored to be here with you, especially somebody that is helping the most important human beings in the world, the heroes of our military and their families. My wife, Shemaine, and the Nugent family have always been there for these guys. We are honored and humbled beyond description. Way back in the 1960s, when the Vietnam vets were coming home, and they would hear my interviews celebrating the Second Amendment and freedom and defiance and standing up for what you believe in, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Ten Commandments, the Golden Rule, God, family, country, and all that controversial, radical stuff.
Radical, yeah.
And so the heroes of the military from World War II, survivors of the Bataan Death March, Tyler, I mean, I've been so humbled that if you think I have a little too much of a cocky attitude, it's because the greatest people in the world have embraced me, welcomed me into their lives. And it's no coincidence, and it's really a parallel of spirit and attitude and rugged individualism, that I am a Bronco guy, I'm an off-road guy, and I can tell you, and I'm going to tell you a bunch of stories that I've been into the belly of the off-road Bronco beast with Parnelli Jones and Bill Straup and Mickey Thompson and so many wonderful Bronco gods of thunder, and that you are involved with Broncos and the military. You and I deserve each other. We are blood brothers of the great spirit of the wild, and I would just like to take this opportunity, everybody that is watching, that I know these off-roaders. You know, we talk about rugged individualism, self-sufficiency, being able to take care of business, having a toolkit with you at all times, hopefully a gun and a knife and a clean handkerchief and extra ammo. I suspect all the Broncos have that integral equipment, but I really feel a kinship, a spiritual connection to people who still tread lightly in the great outdoors, because we are the ultimate environmentalists. The Bronco trails of this country that the off-road clubs and organizations have organized, we leave no more damage to the earth than the elk migration, than the human species trying to be the best that we can be and be productive, to celebrate good over evil, put our heart and soul into being the best that we can be. And if I sound like I'm hitting all the bullet points of the off-road enthusiasts is because I've been hanging with these guys and gals and these families. Like I said, 74 years clean and sober. My radar works pretty good, and I've been able to pick up on all this positive energy, positive spirit, generosity, love, appreciation, knowing that freedom is not free. And it seems like whenever I do a Bronco event, an off-road event, I don't care if you bring your Blazer. I'm not against Jeeps. Anybody who spends time in the great outdoors, there's a consistent pulse of appreciation for the sacrifices that the military have given so that we can have the freedom in America that is so unique to America with our off-roading, our public, our federal and state lands, our private, our ranches and our farms, and the open arms that we get everywhere we go. So a big Uncle Ted greasy barbecue salute, ballistically coefficient, low lock, four-wheel drive, climbing up your face in a Bronco salute to all those off-roaders out there and the military families that we never lose touch with. I'm moved to be a part of this organization, this movement. Wheeling for a Cause, great stuff. We also support a charity known as FullCircleProgram.com. And I have my own nonprofit 501c3 Ted Nugent Camp for Kids for 33 years now, where we've graduated thousands and thousands of young boys and girls into a clean and sober American dream. Aim small, miss small, safe firearms handling, and the discipline that goes with archery, the great outdoors, hunting, fishing, trapping, conservation, and the off-road lifestyle. So I'm proud to be a part for Wheeling for a Cause, and I will help in any way that I can.
So yeah, Ted, thank you. It was incredible. Ted called me about 2 weeks ago now. It was on New Year's Eve. I was actually out doing some testing on the Bronco wheeling, and I get the phone call and I missed it. And I call back and I'm doing this walking around. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And Ted's like, hey, when you get back into service, give me a call. And I'm just honored because when I talk to Ted, Ted's like, hey, buddy, I love what you're doing. I want to help. And so we figured tonight, I asked him, I said, well, can you come on our live stream and introduce yourself and help us to get the message out there, because we can do a lot of good. This is about community, the off-road community, us as, going out there. It's not just to go out and beat up our Broncos and wheel. It's to go out there and to do stuff together as a community and hopefully help others. And that's what Wheeling for a Cause about. I've had people ask me, okay, why or how did Wheeling for a Cause get started? And it all started off of an idea of, as I've been going out across the country, literally put 70,000 miles on vehicles this last year, going all over the country. And, we got to get a feeling of that sense of community. And I said, listen, I want to do something, me and others, Bracken Machine. And, some of us said, let's do something that gives back. And that's where Wheeling for a Cause started. We did a small event with a little girl with spina bifida back in Idaho to kind of get this thing rolling. We formed it, 501c3 here just a couple months ago, and now we've been rolling with this and getting it going. So again, Ted, thank you. This event is two things. We want to introduce a couple of people real quick. That's key to this. And before I do that, this here is about us helping not only just Gunnery Sergeant Guillermo Tajara, who is wounded, is a wounded vet. He double amputee, lost both legs while out there serving our country, and a hero for us. And we appreciate him and all he's done. And this is to me, this is a small way that I can give back and that you guys can be part of. So we're glad to have that. I'm going to bring in Roger Richards. Roger, sorry, bud, I caught you off guard there.
It's okay.
So Roger, introduce yourself. Who are you, and how are you part of this with us?
Hey, so first, Tyler, thanks for having me on. Uncle Ted, you got me fired up. I'm telling you, I love the energy. You got me ready to go. That's for sure.
We didn't catch you off guard. I have a funny feeling you're never off guard. If you're an outdoorsman, shit kicker, and a blood brother of America, then we're never off guard, right?
That's right. We're always on. I do want to preference this with I got a Ford F-250. Am I still part of the club? I don't got a Bronco. I'm good? Okay.
You got a Ford. That's what it takes.
That's all we need. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Hey, so Roger Richards, I'm retired military, also co-founder of Somo VetNet. A little bit about what SOML stands for. Me and my business partner and best friend, we were rescue swimmers in the military, and our motto was "So others may live." And we decided how fitting would that be, starting our own nonprofit, helping veterans, and name it SOMO VetNet. We thought that was pretty fitting, and it definitely it geared to what we were about, which was genuinely helping people and helping veterans transition. So how we got into SOMO VetNet is my business partner, Travis Seek. He retired about a year and a half prior to me. And I want to back it up and say that the military puts you through some pretty good training to help you kind of get ready to transition into the civilian life, mentally, physically, and professionally. So Travis, he transitioned, hit a couple of road bumps, had a lot of lessons learned, figured out a couple other different paths and some more resources. When it came my time to retire, and I did all the military training, Travis reached out to me and helped guide me even further. Because I'll tell you, the one thing that was missing that helps so much is knowing that you have that brother in the civilian world ready to receive you from the military and help and guide you in your daily life in this new civilian form. Getting out is pretty scary. You feel like you're kind of losing your support system that you've always been accustomed to having without even knowing it. And what we wanted to provide at SOMO VetNet was that support system. Immediately, we have a natural cause and a natural calling, if you will, to mentor, guide others, teach, train, whatever we can to help our veteran brothers and sisters transition the best way that we can see fit, and offer all the resources using our network that we can do. So we started helping our folks do resume writing, salary negotiating, helping them understand the civilian terminology and how their military experience can translate to the civilian world. Believe it or not, that's kind of a tall task. You speak kind of two different languages. We helped a lot of our members through our network and through Amazon's military programs and Toyota's programs. We actually got a lot of folks, roughly 200 servicemen and women jobs in those two corporations. We were pretty proud about that, and that's ultimately what helped us form SOMO VetNet as well. And then we decided, we're like, we really want to take it a step further. And how can we provide more with the means that we have and the resources that we have? And the one thing that all military members kind of have in common, at least in a way, is we've all done some kind of security in our military career path. We speak the same language. We know what giving back is. We know what caring for others is. And so we actually started our security company to help employ more veterans, to give them another path to go down and welcome them into the brotherhood and support group that awaits them out here as well. So that's a little bit about SOMO VetNet. And we're pretty pumped. We're fired up willing for calls. It's amazing. And we want to reach as many veterans as we can and help as many as we can.
Well, we appreciate you guys. Travis became a friend of mine because we both went out and were helping some people during Hurricane Harvey, is how I met his partner, Travis, he's talking about. And I can tell you, Travis is an awesome guy. I was able to, we were out there, bought a little Johnny boat down back in Hurricane Harvey, and him and I were out there rescuing people, and it was fun. And that's what giving back is about, is that sense of community and doing stuff for others. It makes you feel good. And I think that's some medicine that we all could use, right, Ted? This country needs more giving back. So anyways, hey, before we're going to go into, we got some great stuff to talk about with Ted. But before I do that, I would like to show you guys, talk about our raffle. There's, everybody's asking, okay, how can we help? How can we support? Well, we've got a lot of great stuff that's been provided for this, for the raffle. And we want to first preface, this raffle is not just for people at the event. All you guys out there, if you want to participate and be part of Wheeling for Cause and help support our cause, then buy a raffle ticket. We'll ship it to you. We're going to, make it as easy as possible for everybody to be part of it. But I want to go show you in the other room. My wife has laid out some stuff that I'd like to kind of give you an idea of what we got, including Ted's guitar. So hang. So here we got some awesome stuff. I'm going to start with the signed guitar from our Bronco daddy, Ted Nugent himself, right here. This is one of the most exciting things we got. We also have a really awesome light kit from Project X with our light bars that we've designed. This is over $3,000 right here. Got a whole bunch of gift certificates. We got Ryder Graphics with some awesome stuff that he's given away. Vroom Vroom Girls. We've got Tough Stuff Overland. Rock Jock. Rock Slide Engineering is donating a $4,000, well, $3,000 something set of rock slides. So that'll get shipped directly to you. MEK Magnets donated. Like I said, Rock Jock, some stuff. We've got Warren Industries. I'm going to head back into the other room, but we got Ford Performance has donated a ProCal tool that's on its way, and many other things. So anyways, moving on now. Transition back here. So that's how we'd like to say that there's a couple ways. The raffle is one, and we also have in the link to the description, we have a way that you can go on there. If you don't want to buy a raffle ticket because you don't have any interest in some of these cool items, then you can go on and to GoFundMe, or you can just go straight to Wheeling for a Cause and donate. Ted, I'd like you to maybe appeal a little bit to our audience and get some help on that if you would.
Well, bottom line is what you guys are doing is God's work. You hear that term a lot, but when you're helping your fellow man, especially those who make such great sacrifices and take such risks for our freedom, and nothing says freedom like four-wheeling, hunting, fishing, trapping, the great outdoors. I've never missed a hunting season in 74 years, and it's really my charge. This side of God, family, rock and roll, causing much pain and anguish into liberals' lives. My life is really focused on the freedom that I celebrate in the great outdoors. I'm a hunter, a fisherman, a trapper, and I found that the guys in the Bronco world and the off-road world, and especially the military world, and Roger can, I'm sure, attest to this, that when I meet a bunch of heroes of the military, our goal is at the top of my list. I have a list on my phone that I accomplish every day, from skinning the raccoons to fixing fence and getting the water crossings fixed and getting my axle straightened out. It says at the top of my list, create an anti-suicide gang. And I'm working with Delta Force and the SEALs and the Army Rangers and the Green Berets and Special Ops and law enforcement across this country, and just working hard, playing hard shit kickers, ranchers, farmers, cops, teachers, hardware store owners, music store owners, my band, my crew, everybody in my life. And so when we find a hero that is so frustrated, and rightly so, when you have a commander-in-chief that is literally the enemy of America, these heroes are frustrated beyond a civilian's comprehension. And I don't mean to get political, but off-roading is political. Freedom is political. And when we deal with guys that are considering suicide, I'm humbled beyond measure when a family calls me and says, my son is a wreck. He's always threatening to kill himself. Would you call him? Well, I'm just a goofy guitar player from Detroit, but I've stood my ground about the Constitution and individual rights all my life. So I suppose just by being a hellraiser, like the founding fathers wanted all of us to be, I have put my heart and soul into working with these other heroes in law enforcement and military to attain the dream of no more veteran suicides. We just got to put an end to it. And I find in the off-road community and the hunting outdoor community especially when, everywhere I go, everybody knows I'm a Bronco nut. Everybody knows I'm a mystical Flight of the Arrow addict, that I'm a backstrap daddy, and that I crushed the Michael Moore fan club just by being happy. So,
That's a good fan club to crush.
I'm sure. Yeah, they need crushing. They're easy to crush too because they got nothing. They're soulless punks. My point being is that what happens in the off-road world, what happens in the great outdoors, there is a spirit of the wild. That's the name of my TV show for 34 years, my record, my song, my attitude, my writings. And these heroes that are in really bad shape spiritually, the outdoors, off-roading, hunting, fishing, trapping, something outdoors, it cleanses their souls. You know, when you lock those hubs and you see some off-road terrain and it looks challenging, there's no Nancy Pelosi. There's no Joe Biden or Hunter Biden. There's no criminals. There's no treasonous punks out there. There's a soul cleansing power to Mother Nature's healing powers. And I think at Kamesi Park, is that how you pronounce it? Kamesi Park?
Katemsi. Yeah, Katemsi Rocks off-road. Yep.
In Mason, Michigan. I've been there with the Lone Star Early Bronco Club before. And we find no matter what state, what region, what part of the country, we get these military guys in the great outdoors and we strap their ass into a rock crawler, or we just get them a bow and arrow, or we get them a fishing line and a bobber and a worm. Their pain goes away. I mean, these guys will get emotional around the campfire at night and go, you know, I felt great today. All my problems vanished. So off-roading is fun. It's challenging. We like to break stuff. We like to get a campfire and cook some flesh over the hot coals. But this outdoor lifestyle is our last link to our Aboriginal spirit of one with nature. That's what hunting is. It balances the herds to prepare for next year's production. It optimizes the quality of our air, soil, and water that comes from wildlife habitat and off-roading habitat. When we off-road, we don't destroy the habitat. We take pretty damn good care of it. And a lot of it is made for off-roading. I mean, if you didn't I testified before Congress years ago where they're going to shut down all the federal land to foot traffic and ATV traffic and off-roading. And I testified and I said, and I made my point, and I stopped the legislation that would have kept us off our lands. The federal lands belong to us. Those are my lands.
Yes.
And the bureaucrats are supposed to manage it for optimal use for family hours of outdoor recreation. So my testimony, as I said earlier, Tyler, is that when we tread lightly and we are conscientious about our off-roading and our ranching, our farming, our food production, that we're no worse than migrating caribou or migrating elk. We're no worse than what nature performs in its ups and downs. So, Roger, I'm glad you're a part of this, and so others may live. Boy, that's kind of my battle cry with the heroes of the military that I'm honored to share campfires with. And I have a funny feeling if everybody listening right now, there's probably just a nice eclectic off-road, maybe Bronco kind of gang that is listening to this podcast right now, Tyler, but they should spread the word. Yes. And everybody gather up your family, get a cooler full of good stuff, and head for Mason,
Texas. Yep.
Mason, Texas. There's a Mason, Michigan, actually, too, that has a big off-road club. Mason, Texas, a great community, great little town.
It is.
And the off-road park is awesome. And join this off-road event, this Wheeling for a Cause. Is that the name of it? Wheeling for a Cause?
Wheeling for a Cause is so that's our nonprofit organization.
Yeah, Wheeling for a Cause. Get everybody you can. Let's set a record attendance and a record revenue generation for these wonderful prizes that you can win, these raffle prizes. I want some of those prizes, but I'll let somebody else get them. And by the way, the Ted Nugent autographed guitar, that's got some serious gonzo mojo. You put that in your room, and all of a sudden you'll be healthier. You'll have a better attitude. You'll be your middle fingers might spontaneously combust because my guitars bring forth the ultimate we the people freedom. So I'm proud to donate that for Wheeling for a Cause, because it's a wonderful, wonderful cause. And I'd like to see everybody listening to this podcast right now to tell all their buddies, all their friends, all their neighbors, co-workers, their hunting buddies, people at the barbecue, at the bowling alley. I don't know why you'd go to a bowling alley, but tell everybody you know. I go to a bowling alley, but I shoot the pins with my 10 millimeter. It's not actually an alley. It's a bowling pin competition. I'm sure you're aware of that, Roger. And so there are bowling pins that turn into kindling in the Nugent world. So get everybody you know to go to Mason, Texas this coming weekend, 13, 14, 15 of January, Cluster Crank 23. And let's raise some hell, raise some love and some generosity, and raise some money for these great, great veterans. You're doing God's work, Tyler. I'm proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you and Roger.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and this is an exciting time for me. It feels good to be doing something good like this. And we couldn't do it without help from the community. We have a whole list of questions that we wanted to ask you too, Ted, because we want to talk about our cause, but everybody out there wants to know about you and your off-road experience too. So one of the questions we had for you was, growing up with Broncos, do you have, or actually, let's start with this one. How many Broncos does Ted Nugent own?
Right now, I got 5 of them. I got a 66 that been a frame off rebuild with just a 2-inch lift, so it's not cut. I'm sure my Bronco blood brothers know how important it is to have a non-cut Bronco. And it's got a 302, and it's an automatic, and it's got a wonderful deer winch rack in the back so I can load my deer in Michigan by myself in the swamps. And it's got Posi Unlimited slip. It's probably 456 gears. It's running on probably 32-inch tires because it's not cut. And I have a 69 that David Poston of Clifton, Texas. Everybody better write down that name. David Poston of Clifton, Texas. This guy is a Bronco god. This guy takes piles of parts that you cannot even identify that there's a Bronco in their history. And a year later, he produces a gem, a functioning, reliable, real honest to God off-road Bronco. And then, of course, I've got this unbelievable, boy, my history with Bronco. I played bass guitar for Chuck Berry. I went around the Indy 500 track with Parnelli Jones. I raced with Mickey Thompson, an Ivan Ironman student, and Bill Straup, the guy who invented the Bronco as a reaction to a civilian version of the mighty Jeep back in 1965. And I've actually, my Zebra Bronco was originally built by the Ford Racing Team and his almighty Bill Straup. And it was a stone cold, fire-breathing fun truck from hell for many, many years. But then I had a bunch of different changes going on. And I won't mention any names right now because some people in the television world were supposed to rebuild it properly and they wrecked it. They took, there's the beast. What a truck. But luckily, Brian Shootback and Dave Miller in Jackson, Michigan, they re-engineered it with Curry axles and a Roush Yates 800 horsepower supercharged V8. And I have so much fun with it. But I was going to drive it to Mason this weekend, but we're not sure if the supercharged intercooler is functioning. And the way I drive, the supercharger needs to be cooled. And so I've got a buddy here that is an off-road maniac, but David Poston. And it's kind of, I wish I had a celebration about my buddies at Texas Metal, but my beloved 74 Bronco, the black one that Jeff's Bronco Graveyard put together for me many years ago. Bill and his buddies at Texas Metal took it 3 years ago. We're 2 years late, and it's not right yet. So they're still working on it. We had it painted that beautiful, shiny copper bronze color, and the engineering is phenomenal. But unfortunately, it's been really having a lot of problems. So we're hoping to get my Texas Metal Bronco so I can rave how wonderful it is, because right now I cannot rave how wonderful it is, because I thought they were going to turn my 74 into the ultimate beast. And I'm still giving them a chance to do so. So maybe we'll get on and I will be able to rave what Bill and his Texas Metal guys have done, because right now I have no raves about them except that get me my damn Bronco, guys.
Well, I do have some guys on there that can help you. When we talked, we actually have Jesse from Helibad that lives over in Austin. So Jesse, you should say hi. We need to introduce you guys. We need to come barbecue at the Nugent Ranch sometime.
We need to do that. Well, I've been a Bronco guy. My first Bronco I bought from Jackson Ford in Jackson, Michigan in 1970. It was a brand new 3-on-the-tree 302, and it came with a winch and the spare tire, and it was listed for $32,250. That's $3,250, brand new off the showroom. And I kind of talked him down to $3,000 because I bought a station wagon at the same time for the Amboy Dukes. My point is I've been in love with Broncos since that was the first vehicle I bought for myself, a 1970 Ford Bronco. And unfortunately, back then, the guitar player should never be cut loose to engineer a lift kit because we got it lifted up. How, I don't know, but I had 44 Gumbo Mutters on it. And my God, did I have fun with that. But you know what happens when you put 44s on a stock axle? Things start to snap. So I've been up and down, and nobody's ever owned a Bronco that didn't have a lot of adventure in the wrenching department. But I was on the phone with Razor Dobbs, who's got a brand new 2022 Bronco Everglades, and he's got a 67 Bronco, and he raves about his new Bronco Everglades with the snorkel on it.
Yep.
So I've got a lot of buddies. I've been so tempted to get a Raptor. It's still not off the table. Mrs. Nugent is considering the authorization. And plus I got a Dodge Ram Hemi, and I got an F-250 with a V10, and I got 2 Hellcat red-eye fire-breathing 840 horsepower fighter jet neck snappers. So I'm a horsepower idiot. And my Broncos, when we get the Zebra running right and when we get the 74 running right, I'm hoping that they'll be the dream Broncos that we have designed.
So I actually, I got an idea. If you can't get yours going in there, I think we could make a really awesome video out of Ted Nugent on BroncBuster and say, I could do a whole video on Ted Nugent broke my Bronco.
But I'd be happy to do it, and I guarantee I can.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. That's why I'm BroncBuster. You know, we go out, we bust these things. So,
but you know, Tyler and Roger, I got to tell you, I am the Motor City Madman, and yes, those are flames coming out of my ass, so just shut up and grab the marshmallows. I'm an intense guy, but let me tell you, I'm not an idiot. A lot of people think I am. It's not the Motor City Idiot, it's the Motor City Madman. I am, for the most part, I don't know if you saw Sammy Hager's road trip, but I took him for a ride in my beautiful black 74 with the 37s, and just a great vehicle. I am overtly gentle with my trucks because my main goal, reliability.
yeah.
I want to turn that key and take my kids for a ride, and my grandkids. Yes, they have to have capabilities to jump in Baja, but I don't jump in Baja. I will do off-roading, and I'll do some hill climbing, and I'll do some river crossing, and I'll go in the snowstorms up in Michigan. But I do not beat my vehicles because I want them to function reliably, just like my guitars. I play my guitars. Look at, you can see the wear and tear. This is how the Broncos turn out. That guitar has been played, but I have a light touch. I don't beat on them and hammer them hard because I want them to be in tune. I want them to be able to deliver the tonality and the lyricism and the dynamics and the animal breeding soundtrack that I have perfected over the years. I want my guitars reliable and I want my trucks reliable. So I'm not a madman behind the wheel. Now, I did race the Mint 400, the Bar Style 350, the Parker 400, Pikes Peak in Colorado. I won Pikes Peak in a Class 1 buggy. And I did beat the living hell out of those vehicles because I had to go fast. And I went so fast sometimes that occasionally I T-boned and I survived it, thank God. So when you're in a racing competition, yes, I go for it. And I'm gonna put it right to the limit of blowing that thing up. But in my own vehicles, I don't do that because I want them to be reliable and functional.
Awesome. So I have a friend at Ford that he actually asked me to ask you about your 71 429 LJ Mach 1, because apparently he has a matching vehicle to yours.
Well, I don't know what he's talking about because I've never had one of those.
Oh.
I've had pretty much every vehicle, but my fleet is all utilitarian and functional. Yes, they're fast and ridiculously powerful. but I've never had that vehicle. I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, well, we got that one wrong. So
Remember, these guys will come up to me on the street and go, "Hey, Nugent, I hunted your ranch in Montana." And I go, "I don't own a ranch in Montana." They go, "Oh, come on, man, that big ranch with the big lodge, I was on it. It was yours." And I go, "It's not mine. I've never owned a ranch in Montana." So these people, some guys go, "Hey, man, remember the time we jammed on your Stratocaster?" I've never owned a Stratocaster.
So do you have a favorite place you love to go wheeling? Where do you, when Ted Nugent wants to go out and wheel his Bronco, where do you go?
Well, right here on Spirit Wild Ranch in China Springs, Texas, where we moved out 21 years ago. And I still love Michigan, but it's turned into a political suburb of San Francisco. Really embarrassing. But the greatest people in the world, the greatest mechanics, the greatest off-roaders, the greatest hunters are still in Michigan. But right here on our Spirit Wild Ranch, we have the North Bosque River runs right on the west line of my property. And it's a real steep 100-foot, pretty steep slope that goes down to a beautiful gravel bar on the river. And if you ever get to see the Sammy Hagar road trips, I took him down there in my 74. And it's got a few test zones where you better have all four wheels digging to come up the slopes, especially after there's been some moisture. But I really like that because it's a beautiful cliff, what we call bird rock, where thousands and thousands of birds come back every spring. The swallows return to my cliff here every year. And it's romantic. I got a big giant rock where I put my stick man and put some ignition stuff on it so I can light my rock on fire. So I go off-roading and light rocks on fire. and it's also where I have my brass rainbow orgy. And if you want to know what a brass rainbow orgy is, it's an M4 with hot brass causing a rainbow into the river. So that's one of my favorite places. Also back in Michigan during blizzards, back in the 76, 77, 78 blizzards, my little Bronco with those gumbo mutters and positive traction, I'd slap chains on them, and I was the only vehicle going. We're talking 3 feet of snow overnight, and that little Bronco would chug along in low lock, and it just so much fun to be self-sufficient and independent when Mother Nature sucker punches you. And when you have a little Bronco set up properly, you can still be mobile. So those are my favorite memories, and I'm still making memories today.
So what is it about the Bronco? I mean, what set the Bronco aside from a Jeep or another 4x4? What made you fall in love with the Bronco?
Well, I've always, the Nugent family were always a Ford family, Ford Fairlanes and Ford Country Squire station wagons. So there was probably a little bit of that impetus growing up. But when let's be honest, that little boxy square design, there's just nothing more adorable than a Bronco. I love the Jeeps. I love the different Jeep models. I love some, believe it or not, I love all those vehicles. I mean, my buddy had a Jimmy and a Blazer, but there's something just really precious about it. It's a tough looking, simple, utilitarian vehicle. And when you get a larger tire on it, maybe about it, and a good lift, and there's so many accessories that you can add. It's endless. I was addicted to what was the name of that? Can't think of the name of it. It was a catalog out of Southgate, California. Everybody must know what I'm talking about. Dick CPAC. I mean, I bought 2 of everything out of the Dick CPAC catalog. And then when they started making the accessories for the Bronco, I just went stupid and did it all. But there's something really handsome. It just really a good looking, the best design. And I love the new Broncos, but not as much as the 66 through the 77. Those are classics. And you notice whether it's a makeup ad or a rock and roll video or an insurance ad, when people really want to get an eye candy vehicle, what do they go for? They go for an early Bronco because it just has a real killer utilitarian American off-road rugged individual look about it. And I still believe that.
Do you have a favorite year?
Well, I mean, the 66 was the first year. I got a little half cab, my little black one. But no, anything. Well, obviously 77, they finally got the steering right, the geometry right, and you could get disc brakes all around. And it had upgraded the overall engineering throughout the years. So I would say that if a guy wanted the holy grail of the Bronco, it would be a 77, probably in stock condition. By the way, Emil Schwartz over in Clifton, Emil Schwartz, 93 years old. He's got a 77. It's stock. It's uncut. It's all
You
original.
need to introduce me.
I'm telling you, he's he's the master. He can listen to my truck and go, well, cylinder 4 isn't functioning right. I can fix that. And 5 minutes later, he's got it fixed. Really, I'm around some of the most genius mechanics, and no one I value more. The only guy I value close to the military heroes is a great mechanic. I love honest, capable, clever mechanics. But I think any 66 through 77, I just love them all.
So 77 is the one I'm looking for. Multiple reasons. What you just said, and that's the year I was born. So it kind of be nice to have a 77. Do you have any off-road experiences that, like, just really crazy story that you want to share with us?
Well, in 1974, I still had my 70 Bronco, and I customized it a little bit. I cut it, and I think I had 33s on it at the time. And I had toured with the Amboy Dukes 350 days a year for about 6 years. And I loved it. I wasn't complaining. I'm the guy who booked it. I love playing every night, especially when you're that young. But the industry was giving me a hard time. All the labels, all the record companies had passed on me. Well, nobody's interested in long guitar solos and all that feedback stuff. We need a keyboard. We need a nice big chorus. Maybe some girls singing. I go, I don't think so. I like raw, grinding rhythm and blues, rock and roll. So I told my band I needed to take a break. And instead of just going hunting on an occasional day or here and there, which isn't really a complete hunting experience, because hunting is about immersing yourself into the spirit of the nature healing powers and becoming one and killing that deer cleanly with a good arrow. And when you're just doing it piecemeal, it's not a fulfilling experience. So I said, I'm going to take September off. And everybody went, what? You can't do that. And I went, yeah, well, watch me. And I got in my Bronco with my Boy Scout mess kit and a pump tent and my Bear recurve bow. And I went to the Uncompahgre National Forest in Colorado. And it was an awakening, because I realized that I needed more time. My energy on stage is dangerous. I mean, I am a man possessed with the musical delivery, the tightness, the James Brown grind, and that Motown soulfulness, but high energy and really damn loud. My favorite stuff. So I need, if I'm going to breathe fire all the time with the music, and in my interviews, you can tell I'm a high energy guy. I'm enthusiastic. I'm really passionate about the things that bring me life, liberty, and maximum gonzo happiness. So I knew instinctively I needed a break. Well, I'm out there in my Bronco and I shot a couple grouse for dinner. And I remember I'm driving through those mountains and on gravel roads and just winding 2 tracks. And I thought, well, I'm in a Bronco. I can go anywhere. Well, I was going a little too fast, and all of a sudden the road ended. Thank God it wasn't a cliff, but I was airborne for about 30 or 40 feet. And when I hit, the spare tire rig completely went flying off. And it was an awakening for me that I should probably be more cautious in life. And I was in the Bronco, the 3 on the tree wouldn't shift. And I go, well, now I'm in Uncompahgre National Forest Wilderness. Now what do I do? Well, in my toolkit, I had a bunch of snap rings and a bunch of zip ties and a bunch of nuts and bolts and all the tools I needed and rope. And I looked under the hood and I followed the linkage, and I saw the linkage had come disconnected from the shifter. Well, hallelujah, Ted Nugent, the mechanic. I got that thing started up, and I went and found the spare tire and got that reattached. And I was pretty damn proud of myself that I wasn't stranded, because I had zero mechanical knowledge or capabilities. But boy, I improvised, adapt, and overcome right there. And I got going. So that's the essence of Broncoing. That's the essence of off-roading, is you need to be able to keep going. And luckily, I called upon the wrench gods of the ether, and I figured out how to get that linkage back up to the shifter. And I drove to camp, and I shot a beautiful mule deer, and I drove all the way back to Michigan. And it was a great, great baptism of off-roading and prioritizing in my life where I'm going to breathe fire with the music, but you have to charge your batteries. You have to regroup and make sure you're on a true north compass setting, which is how I've always made the decision to be clean and sober. I just wouldn't poison my sacred temple, and hunting with a bow and arrow. If you get stoned or drunk, you're going to have to buy chicken, because you never get close to the bow and arrow if you're stoned or drunk. Plus, everybody who was stoned or drunk smelled bad. They were drooling and puking and dying, and I don't call that a party.
I agree. And, you know, on your experiences of breaking down, I think I can attest to that. Everybody here knows that as BroncBuster, you know, I go out and I test the weaknesses of the new Bronco, which I think it's a great platform, but it's got its weaknesses. And I've probably done some of these repairs more than anybody else in the country. And I never dreamed I'd be a mechanic, and that's what I've ended up becoming in finding some of these solutions. But you know, one of the things we wanted to ask you too is, you know, since we are talking about, and we touched on this a little bit, but since this is about veterans and helping veterans, we talked a little bit earlier about the sense of community. You know, veterans and the outdoors is kind of what I want to talk about. In your interactions with veterans, what seems to be the most important aspect of their readjustment? Because you've spent a lot of time, I know, with some of our veterans.
Well, Roger will be able to fortify what I'm about to say, and the evidence is clear. I use the word blood brother when I trust someone, and they have integrity, and they show up on time, and they're there for you. It's an Aboriginal term of someone who will be there for you. And I find in the off-road world, and certainly in the hunting world, the hunting families of this country, there is a blood brotherhood. And we know that the freedom that we experience as hunters and landowners, and with state and federal lands that are available to we the people because we own them, this is an experiment in self-government, that I find that there is such compassion, such empathy, such spiritual support for these veterans when they're in a state of confusion or they're angry. And we're all in a state of confusion. We all get angry. But again, I'm going to go ahead and say it. When your government lies to you and you put your life on the line for that constitutional oath, and then you see the people you hired to take that constitutional oath violate that constitutional oath, that hurts these heroes that dragged their buddies off the battlefield in pieces who died for that oath. And that hurt and that pain that they experience, we can only imagine how deep it is. So when you're in a hunting camp, when you're off-roading, there's an uppityness, there's a lot of positive spirit, and there's a brotherhood, because you're going to wrench together, you're going to get a campfire together, you're going to just shoot the shit and have fun. There's an uninhibitedness, there's a freedom around these outdoor campfires. And I find, and they tell me this, I mean, I got so many friends in the military, we've shared so many campfires for over 50 years, that they've expressed what I'm saying right now. These are their feelings. I learned from them, and it cleanses their souls. It reminds them that they're not alone. It reminds them that we deeply care, that they are worth everything we can do to help them. And then they, in turn, and I'm going to introduce you to some of these guys. Greg Stubbe, who had his guts blown out on a mountain in Afghanistan. John Wayne Walding gave up his leg and kept in the fight, strapped his leg to his chest with a belt and kept shooting the Taliban. Marcus Luttrell, a dear friend of mine, Navy SEAL, what he went through. There's a lot of that. And all the guys I just mentioned, I could name 100 more. I could name hundreds more. They have expressed this emotional awakening around these campfires in off-road hunting, outdoor experiences, that the outdoors may be the best prescription for the heartbreak that they feel. And not just the military that experience deep anguish and concern, but kids who are lost, and old guys. I mean, I've been invited into the lives of families where their 6-year-old son is dying, and all he wanted before he died was to go hunt with Ted Nugent. Mason, his name was Mason. And little 7-year-old girls' last wish in life is to go hunting with Ted Nugent. What the hell did I do to deserve that? But they tell me that they see what my interviews and they see me on stage, or they'll see the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild show for 33 years. And they know that I'm not bullshitting anybody. They know that I'm saying what I believe, and I say it with confidence. And I say it no matter how much attacks I have to endure, how much hate I have to endure. So there's a blood brotherhood in the outdoor world. And it's broncoing guys, it's off-roading guys, it's hunting, fishing, trapping, farming, ranching, outdoors. It will cleanse the soul. I'm telling you this. I said this in an interview back in around 1965. If Jimi Hendrix would have been a hunter, if Elvis Presley, I think I mentioned Elvis Presley, if Elvis Presley would have been a hunter, he'd probably still be alive, because when you handle gut piles and you take a life with conscientiously in a quick, clean, humane, well-rehearsed, practiced kill as a reasoning predator, you value life more. I guarantee all these carjackers and all these rapists and child molesters, you're not to find a hunting license in any of their pockets. Mm-hmm. These punks that are let out of jail and they stab and shoot and throw people in front of trains and hit them with baseball bats, they've never been hunting. No. They've never touched the essence of where life comes from. They don't have to admit it because they're brought up in an ugly gang, minimal love, if any, environment. So the outdoors and what you'll find in Mason, I'm sure next weekend, is what we find every time around the campfire. There's a lot of blood brotherhood, real integral, spiritual, human connection. And I think those words apply even to casual off-roading. I mean, just the fact you got to bring your own food and supplies and spare parts. There's an independence. The ultimate independent spirit will be found off-road and in the hunting world.
I agree, and that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is bring the off-road community together. I agree with what you said, and the fact that if you look back over what has ailed America so much in the last few years, and COVID, and going indoors away from people, and we need to be amongst our fellow human beings and serving, and when we do that, we can become better people.
Well, Roger, I would like if you get in touch with me through Tyler. I would like to be part of this, so others may live. I mean, that goes hand in hand with all the things that we're doing here in the Nugent family and everybody we know. And I think we can join forces, and so others may live, and we can reach out to those that are facing trauma and uncertainty in their lives. And it really can. Plus, I got a gang. I mean, these guys are the baddest dudes that ever walked the earth. Delta Force and Navy SEALs and Berets and Army Rangers and guys with no dog tags. These guys, they're superhumans. And when someone's considering suicide, we fix them. We drown them in love. We drown them in believability that we love you and we're not going to let you end it. We will be there. We will come to your house with a fishing pole.
That's
right.
I
swear to God, that's the prescription, man.
Yep.
That's it. There's something I want to just validate exactly from a veteran's perspective, exactly what you were talking about with the outdoors. There's something that is just so pure and organic, and being one with nature in the outdoors, it provides a therapeutic relief that's really undescribable sometimes. We as Somo VetNet, we actually put on a big Somo VetNet hunt in Waco, Texas every year for Veterans Day. And we bring a lot of our buddies, a lot of the veterans, bring them all in. We got 600 acres. And we do just this. And I tell you what, we all look forward to it all year long.
Yeah.
It cleanses the soul. It gets us back in our happy place, if you will. So just to validate, yes, the outdoors is the way to go. There's no stronger medication out there. I firmly
That's
believe
right. Boy, that's a great way to put it. No stronger medication. Roger, thank you for that, boy. We are blood brothers. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. You betcha. You betcha. And I would love, Uncle Ted, I would love for us to get together and continue the cause and continue to help one another and veterans 100%.
You bet. Where are you, Roger?
I'm in Fort Worth, Texas.
Well, we're neighbors, buddy. We get
Yes,
together.
sir.
I'd be up there in my Hellcat in a half an hour.
Okay. Let's go grab dinner. I'll meet you halfway.
Let's do that. Let's get home. Tyler, you get me his contact.
I will do that. I'll message you right after the show. So I know we're coming up on that hour of closing our show, and there's a couple of things I did want to kind of close out with, guys. And for one, Ted, thank you so much for all you've done to help this cause. The invitation is 100% open if you want to take one of my Broncos this weekend and go wheel it. I'm not worried about anything getting broken. So
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You want to take me up on it? We'd love to have you. So
one of these days we're going to get together. I promise you that. I think this weekend Mrs. Nugent's got priorities right now.
All right. Well, one of these times. But with that, guys, some of you that have joined us that weren't here at the beginning, again, in the description, we have a GoFundMe that you can get on and donate. We also have a link to the website. You go out and buy some really cool stuff that we have, including the guitar that Ted Nugent has been so gracious to donate to us. We, of course, would love to see it. I mean, the weather's fantastic here in Texas right now. It was, 82 today, I think?
Well, you call it fantastic. I was in a tree stand tonight at 82 degrees, and it wasn't very fantastic for deer hunting, but it is good for off-roading.
I spent some years in North Dakota, and when it's minus 60, I'll take the 80. So anyways.
Amen.
No, it's fantastic weather, off-roading for sure. If you can make a last minute come, we encourage you to get on and register. We're down to the last couple of days. But yes, Ted, we thank you. Roger, we appreciate you coming on. We appreciate VetNet. I did want to mention Camp Freedom also. Camp Freedom has a similar mission. They are going to be at our event also, and we're helping to raise funds for their cause because they are very much into helping our disabled veterans, mobility disadvantaged. And so that's another great cause. So guys, as much as you guys can help, there's a lot of causes we can get out there and do. Join us in this. There's a lot of great prizes. Get on and help donate. And we'll see you guys out there. Ted, you're a rock star. We appreciate you. And it's been our pleasure to have you on tonight.
Well, thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Roger. God bless you, man. Whenever you're around those vets, you tell them the Nugent family loves them and we're there for them.
Yes, sir. I sure will. You betcha.
Right. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend, Tyler. Thanks for all you're doing. And I have a funny feeling you and I are going to become, in fact, we already are officially Bronco blood brothers. And you're going to help me get my Zebra and my 74 in perfect working order.
I can't wait, buddy. I can't wait. So this is going to be a lot of fun. We'll work together for sure.
Well, God bless you guys. Happy New Year to everybody. Celebrate this great American dream like you mean it, even though the conditions and the politics are just treacherous and heartbreaking right now, but we can still improvise, adapt, and overcome, be the best that we can be, put our heart and soul into being productive in the asset column of this American dream for God, family, country, and law and order. And I think we're going to come out of it okay.
Thank you, Ted.
You betcha. Thanks,
Thank you, Roger. See you guys on next week's show.
All right, guys.
Yes, sir.